Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. Welcome. So this is a VR, an overdue VR. I had hoped to get this one done earlier in the week, and it just wasn't possible to do. But it's a VR to the lovely Monica Bodirsky. If you don't know her, I recommend that you do. She's wonderful. She's wonderful. I'd say that I forgot as I started filming to pull out her deck, which is in my caddy. Her decks, plural, because I love her deck so much, which is how I found her. So when I was researching this deck last year, I came upon her YouTube channel and her website. This has become a go-to deck for me, no question. Her content is always really informative and brief, and she's very regular at uploading, and she's all kinds of wonderful witchy things that she offers in addition to just tarot related insights. She also has the House of Shadows Lenormand. Again, one of my favorite little decks. I don't really read it like a Lenormand. I do more intuitive readings with it. It's just so delightful. And of course the Lenormand readings are always there, you know, but where there are additional meanings and things, I kind of give myself the freedom to interpret. So it's just as cute as it can be. And there are always new cards and new things that she adds with every edition of this deck. So if you don't know her work, again, I can't recommend her enough as a creator, but also just her YouTube channel is great too. Her original video, which was out last Sunday, she asked, she had some FAQs, and she said, you know, feel free to do a VR. And I got called out. So I'm here. I'm here, girl. I'm here for it. So her first question, when did you start reading tarot or Lenormand? So I started reading tarot when I was 19. So that was 26 years ago. Oh my God. And I loved it. I absolutely took to it like I don't know like what, but you know, I took to it hardcore. And I read with a friend who was from Puerto Rico, and her family had come from like a background of folk magic and various different practices. And so she was able to sort of teach me to read tarot in a way that I really could never have gotten from anyone else. And so the TDM has always felt to me like the home base. The one I really had to work hard to learn and read properly was RWS. So that one felt to me more like a big accomplishment that was like, yeah, I learned how to read the RWS, because that was my second deck that I learned, and it was within a year of learning TDM. I know that. I don't remember the exact dates or times, but I got so into it, I went on to the American Tarot Association to become a certified tarot reader, and so I could put CTR behind my name and all of that sort of thing. Fun times, right? So that's when I learned to read tarot. Lenormand is a work in progress. So I would say, and I would say tarot is too. 26 years doesn't make you an expert at anything. It just means that you're working at learning from a different place, I think. And it means that actually if you want to really be learning, you have to really be making the effort, because it's easy to sit back and be like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It's fine. I don't have to work hard anymore. And that's really never the truth. It is never the truth. It doesn't matter what the practice is. You got to keep at it. So which deck is my favorite one? Well, most of you who watch the channel regularly already know this, and I'm sorry, Monica, yours is one of my favorites. It's among the top, but the favorite is really always going to be the Marielle. It just is. It's the one I know best right now, and it's the one I trust. I mean, if you can't tell by the wear and tear on this particular deck, you know, like, it gets used daily. So, yeah, it just talks to me in a way that no other deck does. And I know I worked hard to build that relationship with it, and I would say that's a relationship like any that just continues to grow and evolve. So, yeah, this is my go-to. My go-to Lenormand deck, since we're talking about it, though, where did I put that little card? It's the Destroyed Dondorf. So I can put the link to this one in the box. Whoops. I love like details like this, where it's, you know, it's from a deck that was really well loved. And because of that, like there's a coffee stain on that one. There's writing and even scratching out of the writing and stuff on there for like meanings and notes. There are some that have been really badly, yeah, the tower is one of them, stained by ink. Like someone spilled ink on them. So I don't know where the publisher got this particular version of the deck, but I treasure it. It has the look and feel of a deck that's just been adored and loved and has sat with this reader on their, on their coffee table or their desk or their dining room table through all kinds of events. The edges got chewed up and destroyed, and it was probably just barely scannable and workable by the time this person, the publisher, acquired it to be able to do a reprint of it. But that's what I love about it, is that it is a complete mess. I have the feeling of like it carries the reader, the original reader's wisdom and intelligence with it. So when I read with this deck, I don't know, I just don't have to struggle. There's just no struggle. It's always an intuitive hit that's immediate, that I don't get with any other Lenormand deck. And I don't know, I can't say why that is for sure. I just can say that it is. So it doesn't matter whether I'm following the directions or not. If I pick this one up, it reads. So, we tend to kind of get like that, like, oh, this works, so I'll stay with it. Question 3, who influenced your art? So that is a great question. If I'm putting Monica's original in the box below, so do watch it. It'll be shorter than mine. Pretty much a lot of the same influences that Monica lists, I could add to my list as well. So especially people like Guillermo del Toro and Edward Gorey and so on. I would add to that because I don't work in the medium of painting and drawing. I really can't. And in fact, I'm really in a position where I'm kind of being pushed to have to learn to do that. Oh my goodness. That said, the influences that inform my fiber and bookmaking art and my ceramic art. For ceramics, it was really going to the Van Briggle pottery as a kid, and my mom collected pottery. So that was an early influence, just seeing all of the Williamsburg pottery, which is a totally different pottery making process. And those were definitely my early influences for ceramics. For fibers, I'm going to list a lot of people, and then there are so many more I can't even begin to count them. So what I'm going to do for both is list my my Pinterest link in there. So if you want to see who I'm influenced by or what I'm into. So for fibers, I would say Jette Clover, who is a Dutch fiber artist, is a massive influence. I found her early on when I started working with fibers, and she was huge. Jude Hill of Spirit Cloth, Alex Cox, and her Tide, what did she call it? The Tide water. And she works with lots of rusts and things, which I love. Then there's Irit Dolman, Cass Holmes, a lot of Brits here. Junko Oki, who's Japanese. Jane LaFazio, who's American, and Diane Savona, who's also American. There are dozens, and I can't even begin to name all of them. They were just some that popped to mind. Number 4, what advice would you give new readers? In addition to the basic of just keep going, keep working on it, because it's so much. I know. I remember being utterly, utterly overwhelmed. Just keep on it. Just keep on it. And having a daily practice where you draw daily and consult the guidebook and make notes and keep a journal is going to make that a million times easier. And it's also why there's keywords, right? So see how those keywords resonate with you. If those keywords help you, pick one that really summarizes it and use it. I did that with the Marielle. It felt so overwhelming. I knew that the keyword system would work for me, that I could summarize the sense of a card and the essence of it in one word, and it would unfold like a flower. So if that's something that helps you, do it. 5, the worst tarot or divination reading I ever did. So Monica mentions doing a tarot reading for someone, for a bunch of like drunk, entitled, wealthy people. I can really resonate with that. The worst was when I was still living in London, and I just started taking classes in mediumship. I needed to learn how to hone that because it was just like, it would go wild. And when I first started reading tarot, the tarot cards like sort of operated as a way of focusing in order for in order for mediumistic information to start coming through. That was also why it took so long to really start to read the deck, because I could cheat. And I still find at this point, I still have to work hard at learning the deck so that I'm not cheating, right? Or not, it's not that it's cheating. It's information that's not coming directly from the cards. It's fine to mix that in. There's no problem. It's just that to me feels like I'm not really investing in the cards themselves, but it's possible to do both. I prefer it that way. So what would happen was at that time, it was like literally probably 99, 2000, somewhere in there. I would list my services as a reader in the local paper. And then I would have the clients come to my house. Something that I would never do today. No way would I do that. But when I was that young, I was kind of dumb. And I remember I once had a client come to my house, and when she showed up, like her energy, you could tell right away, was just really rough. Bottom line was that her partner had been killed in some kind of a drug deal that went bad for heroin. And they were both addicted to heroin. I can't remember anymore if her partner was involved in like selling or anything, but I think at that time it was it was crystal clear at that time. And in fact, I can still see the mental images. Those will come with me the rest of my life, of what happened when he was killed. So when she asked me to tap in to her partner who was deceased, I had no idea what I was stepping into. And you often don't if you're doing mediumistic work. And so suddenly I have this image, it was intense. It had only happened 2 weeks prior. I had no idea what I'd gotten myself into. Suffice it to say, there were people that were after her, right? So that puts you in a really compromising position if you're a medium. She was coming to me for information to help try and find who the killers were. And I could see them. I could describe them. I don't remember at this time whether they were people that she was aware of or knew as potential suspects. It was scary. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It did not result in anything bad. I wasn't uncomfortable with the fact that she had an addiction. It was more the idea that I was reading those circumstances. She also gave me her passport because she didn't have cash. And at the time, there was no Venmo, there was no PayPal, there was no, you took cash, and that was that. And she didn't have cash. So she gave me her passport. And in Britain, at that time, you always carry your passport. It's your main form of ID, the way the driver's license is here. She never came back for it. I never saw her again. I heard from her once. I remember she left a voicemail. It was sketchy. I couldn't hear all of it. And there was nothing in there that I could really work with in terms of like, did you want your, whatever. I was less concerned that I didn't get the pay for it. And I was more concerned that I had this woman's passport in my possession. And I kept it in a lockbox. And I think I finally got rid of it in 2008 when I moved because I couldn't locate her. It was just a really distressing situation, but it did teach me a lot of things. What I was really getting into, trying to be a professional reader and a medium. So, fun times. The next one is the next questions take us to a slightly different place. So these are some of the more common questions that Monica gets as a witch and as a tarot reader. So the first one she gets is, can you make him or her or they love me? And the answer for me too is no. I couldn't even get people to love me. How am I going to make that happen for somebody else? And anyway, would you really want them if they're not going to come to you because they love you? I mean, something going on there. Question 2, what are they thinking of me right now? Well, that is a great question. And you may or may not really want the answer to that, but do I answer that question all the time, especially if I'm reading the lines? So I do sometimes still read the lines. I'm doing my best to kind of get away from that because I really want to develop my own reading practice away from there. But I do enjoy reading the lines. I got to be honest. It is fun. It is a nice challenge. But yeah, I get that question a lot on the lines, and I even have a spread for that I made up because it comes up so frequently. And sometimes people just need to know, how can I ground myself is really what's behind that. What's the need? The need is the sense that I'm okay, that regardless of what that person is thinking of me, I'm still okay, and that I'm worthy of being loved. What I do is I tell them the answer, which may be, it really looks like this person is actually not thinking of you right now at all. They seem to be thinking about these other things right now. Here's their opinion of you right now when they do think of you. I can give them better information about what's going on there that will help ground them a little bit more and help them know what the truth is. And so far, knock on wood, that has always gone down really well. People know when they ask me that I'm just going to give them the straightforward, honest truth. So if the answer is they're not thinking about you, they're thinking about what they're going to say to their brother-in-law next week about a job they didn't get finished for them. Like, oh, they're probably not thinking of me all the time. That kind of grounds them back in reality a little bit sometimes. Sometimes there's a second reading that comes through where they want more detail. Question 3 is, why did they leave or break up with me? That too, if I'm reading the lines or, I haven't done this in a long, long time and I really miss it. I'm hoping with the opening up of everything, maybe that's something that'll come again. But when I used to do shorter readings for people, like in a setting like a psychic fair or party situation, that type of thing, I used to get that one a lot. But why did they leave or break up is definitely one that can be answered. And I usually also will just give them a very straightforward look at what the whole big picture was, right? So what were the circumstances of that entire relationship that we can pinpoint as major influences that caused that breakup? And, if the person wants further detail or kind of wants to know their own part in it, we can look at that. Sometimes they do. And I'm always kind of impressed when they do. It is a good question for therapists, and I do spend a lot of time recommending therapists. So I had great, amazing experiences working with therapists, and I still do when I need one. Question 4, will I have a family? We can look at that. Sometimes that comes up in the reading anyway when I do general readings. That's what the querent is there to ask, and it comes up as like, it looks like one of the biggest things weighing on your mind is, will I have a family? Question 5, will I get the job? That one I get a lot. Yeah, we can see whether that comes up and look at all the circumstances around the job and the situation. Question 6, do you let others touch your cards? Yes. Well, obviously, especially in face-to-face readings. Quite often, if somebody's eyesight's poor or they're not seeing the whole card, they really will have like a need to pick the card up and really get, a good look at it, or be able to like look at detail and, see what's in there because they maybe didn't see it as clearly. There are also readings that I do where I'll have a querent pick up the whole deck and go through it to look for the cards that really speak to them about what it is that they want for themselves, or what it is they're looking for, what it is they're feeling that they need, that type of thing. Just depends on the kind of work we're doing. But yeah, I think it's important sometimes that they touch cards. That is the entire thing. Of course, mine is nowhere near as concise as Monica's, but I figured I would have fun because it's kind of fun, right? So if you want to do this VR too, I recommend it. This was my notes that I took while I was listening to Monica do hers. I'll put all the questions in the box below so that you can participate. All right, folks, thank you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.